Today on the Bandolier Says podcast, we're going to be using the brand new Universal Audio SD-1 while we discuss why YouTube is taking on TikTok and a whole lot more, so go ahead and stick around. There's no news that I really feel like discussing this week, so we're just going to jump to what I've been testing, and I'm going to say the thing. You are currently listening to it. You are listening to what I've been testing. I am on the Universal Audio SD-1, which is Universal Audio Standard Dynamic Microphone 1. This looks kind of like a white SM7b. I have the presence boost engaged. I do not have the high-pass filter engaged. And then I am using the podcast preset in the Universal Audio console software. I will not do any other processing on this. You're going to hear this with the processing that Universal Audio thought, hey, you're doing a podcast? This is what you want. It's running through an LA610, I'm sorry, not an LA610, just a Universal Audio 610b emulator, which is a tube preamp emulator. We're getting a 1.5 dB boost at 70 Hz and a 1.5 dB boost at 4.5 kilohertz. Then we're running into a Pultec, and I did adjust this a little bit. They were doing a 50% boost at 100 Hertz. I said, ain't gonna happen. So I dropped it down to about 2.8. And everything else is the same. They're boosting 3.5 at 10 kilohertz, give a little bit of air to it. Let me shut off the EQ actually so you can hear what it sounds like without this. This is without the EQ, this is without the EQ, and this is with the EQ that they have added. And then we are running into an 1176 compressor, and we are getting between -5, -7. This is quite an aggressive compressor, around -7 regularly, a lot more than I typically do, but that is the Universal Audio podcast preset for this microphone if you use Universal Audio interfaces. Now, this goes for $300, and also UA did not send this to me. I bought it and I pre-ordered it, and it just arrived last week, and I've been playing with it for the last week, and it's super fun. I recorded 4 chapters of an audiobook. Yep, that's all that I've got for you. I got nothing else to say. Make sure to stick around for the review, which will be coming in a day or two. That's a secret, though. I've been getting a lot of use out of this thing, and we'll see. Well, we'll see. You'll see. Whatever. Okay, that's it. Let's jump to what you had to say. First comment comes from Sound Speeds, and this is a long one. So, let's read what he has to say. Bandrew and Audio Haze bring up an interesting point. I can honestly say that I don't do YouTube to make money for myself, but if my videos are used for profit by a company, even when I give permission, can I honestly say I don't make YouTube videos to make money? Someone else is making the money, but still. We know there is value in our reviews. Some others I question, like this one guy I won't name that has sent a lot of free gear, but all he does is praise it and say stuff he read from the promotional material. I respect him as a professional in his trade, but his review style pisses me off. I could get a review out same day of release like he does if I did reviews like this, but I can't. It wouldn't make me happy. Choices. We also know that manufacturers benefit from our reviews through suggestions like feature upgrades. A few years back, I mentioned that dynamic microphones lose some appeal when people have to factor in the cost of a cloud lifter, fethead, etc., or a better interface with a lower noise preamp to get the best performance out of it. But if a company were to integrate a mic activator into a dynamic, it would be a more cost-effective solution for the end user if they don't buy many mics. In this week's episode, you even said the Dynacaster has a dynamite built in. I can't take credit for that, but who knows if someone like me suggested it and they listened. I know some companies have taken my suggestions and used those ideas for firmware updates. In my BP-TRX review, I even stated in the first minute that I'm not going to waste my time testing things that can be corrected in a firmware update, but instead will test things unlikely to be. Funny that within 2 days they fixed the issue I blasted them for, timecode. They aren't alone, though. Many manufacturers take our ideas and make a fortune off of them. This brings up another interesting point. If YouTube were to offer an advanced studio with features like allowing the content creator to whitelist websites that can embed videos, like our own, for $10 a month, how many people would want these features and pay for them? You would, I know. Alan, thank you very much for the comment. I'm glad that YouTube didn't hide this. If you don't know, YouTube's comments have been all cattywampus for months, where people's comments just don't show up. So I thought that people would stop writing in-depth responses, and that happened to Alan before. He wrote an incredibly long comment, and then it just disappeared into the ether. I'm glad this one did not. You raise some very interesting points, and you're right. Manufacturers and companies look at our reviews and say, hey, thanks for the feedback. We're going to take that and make money. The reason I don't have an issue with that is that's what reviewers do. That's what people complaining to companies are accomplishing. They're telling companies, hey, this isn't exactly what we want. Make the product that we want, that fulfills our needs, that makes it a more useful tool to help us get our job done. That's really what it all comes down to. That's what reviewers are. They don't exist to make money. They're there, in my opinion, to function in some way as an analog for a consumer, so other people who are looking at the gear can say, hey, I'm a consumer. What do they think of this product? Does it fit their needs? Okay, it's likely to fit my needs. Or for companies, they will look at it and say, okay, a standard consumer wouldn't like it because of this. What can we do to improve this product and make it better? And that's why I'm okay with it, because our feedback will ultimately lead to a better product for the general consumer base. And that's a win-win. Yes, the company will make money, but then the consumer wastes less money. The consumer will get a better product that will last them longer, that will help them actually complete their tasks in a more effective way. So I am more than happy for that. I believe, and then the next thing you say is the whitelist advanced studio thing. I love this idea, and I believe YouTube used to have this function. I never used it, but I believe they had this function, and I would absolutely use this. I would pay for this feature. I already give them money. It's not as much as I get back from them, but I give them money for YouTube Premium so I don't see any ads. I would absolutely pay for some kind of premium creator bundle. They'll never do it, but I would love for that. And I would ban a couple of domains from embedding my videos, because currently you only have the ability to just disable embedding for each individual video. You can't whitelist anything. And that's something that's pretty weird to me. You have to go in. The only way I was able to find was going into each individual video and saying, disable embedding. And I didn't do it because that kicks me in the pants as well. That kicks me in the pants because I have all of my videos embedded on my own websites. So I would have to shoot myself in the foot. I would have to cut off my nose to spite the face. Is that how the saying goes? I don't know. There's a great cover song of, oh gosh, what's the song? In Spite of Ourselves. And the Viagra Boys did an incredible cover of it with Amy Taylor, is it? I think her name is. Incredible cover. Go check that out. So I love the idea of that premium feature. I would pay for that, and I think as reviewers, we are just analogs for the typical consumer, and consumers can get an idea of how a product will fit in their use case, how it will meet their expectations and their needs, and companies will look at us and say, okay, that's what a standard consumer would think. Let's try to fix that to get a better product in the in the hands of the end consumer. I think that's the relationship between reviewers and audiences and reviewers and companies. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, people send complaints to companies all the time. People leave reviews on websites all the time. And companies, if they're smart, will take that feedback, improve upon things, and that's free market research. So why wouldn't they? I hope that made sense. I'm rambling and I'm trying not to edit. So, okay, I think I've done a couple edits so far though. Next, we have a comment from Nate. He says, I still don't think I agree with Bandrew on embedding. Maybe it's not good etiquette, but it's kind of the issue with public content with public embedding capability. The expectation is set with that designation, and I don't know if it's reasonable for companies to interpret that differently. If you, on the other hand, disallowed embedding via YouTube and say Amazon did it anyway, that would be wrong as it violates the designation. It's a similar debate as is happening in open source communities. Big companies are using open source libraries without contributing to them in any way and making money off of those libraries. I am not opposed to this because it abides by the license. Why would a big company interpret differently than stated? If the creator doesn't like this, then they should change the license. A solution to this that I support is tiered use. It's free for use by anyone except those generating some specified revenue. I think something should be applicable here for content creators. Nate, thank you very much for the comment, and I don't disagree with anything that you've said. Companies do currently have the right to take any videos off of YouTube that allow embedding and embed them on their sites. They have the right, they have the ability, unless the content creator, i.e. myself, disallows embedding of my videos. But as I mentioned in reply to Alan, that would be me shooting myself in the foot, because I embed all of my videos on my own websites to try to get Google traffic as well. So by disabling that embedding feature, yes, it would be limiting the potential for those retailers to earn revenue off of my work, but simultaneously it would also hurt my potential discoverability, because all of my web pages do rank in Google search results, and by removing the video, that would make a much worse experience for people who find me via Google. So I think that I do benefit more from having the embed feature enabled so that I can put my videos on my site. I just think it's a crappy situation where you have to say, okay, I don't like what these people are doing. Is the damage so great that I ought to be shooting myself in the foot and damaging myself to stop them from profiting off of my work? It's a really crappy situation, and I'm sure a lot of open source people think the same thing. Why am I doing all this hard work and providing this service just for the general good, and then some asshole comes out and takes my work and profits off of it? I am sure it's a very similar thought process. So I like the idea. That's exactly what Alan said. Add some kind of premium benefit. I don't think you're suggesting creators pay for this, but having a feature that would allow the creator to say block this domain from embedding would be awesome. I would love to have something like that. So Nate, thank you very much for the comment. Next, we have 2 comments from Raisin and the Outsider Jess. They say, I think it's kind of funny how YouTube wanted to prioritize short content because of the competition against TikTok, and now TikTok wants to push for longer content, up to 10 minutes, because of the competition from YouTube probably. They're just taking shots at each other at this point. Outsider Jess says, I don't even know why YouTube tried to compete with them when they just like Instagram and other social media sites before it were eventually going to try to copy YouTube and make videos longer. Thank you very much, Raisin and Jess, for the comments. I just had to include this to try to explain why YouTube is going after TikTok, because I know people on YouTube hate short-form content. A lot of people on YouTube absolutely despise shorts. I, for one, hate seeing 50 shorts pop up every single day when I want a full video from individual channels, not these 30-second nonsense or 30-second clips. I think if you're making shorts, start a new channel, but that doesn't give you the benefit. So the reason why YouTube is going after TikTok is beating out YouTube in terms of watch time per user. I pulled a graph from a Verge article, which was polling from App Annie, which is some research firm. And what they found in the US is different from country to country, and I'll link the article if you want to look more. But in the US, the average watch time for a user of TikTok over a month was 24 hours, while an average YouTube viewer watched only 22 hours. So you can see TikTok is providing a better experience or pushing people to watch more content on their platform. YouTube wants that. YouTube wants more watch hours per user per month. And TikTok is doing that. And I think that YouTube's assuming it's just the short form content. I think it's because of the algorithm, because of the TikTok algorithm. And I'll tell you, that thing scares the pants off of me. The way that I hear people talking about it is terrifying. They say, I just sat down and just watched for hours and hours. And I don't like that idea of an algorithm being trained of exactly what I want. And just as I hold the phone and I don't have to take any action to watch anything, just mindlessly, oh yes, feed me content, TikTok, feed me content for hours a day. I don't like that idea. But I imagine that's why TikTok is winning. A more aggressive algorithm, and the user doesn't have to take action. They just get the content automatically fed into their brain. I don't like that entire system, but to each their own. So YouTube is trying to capture that. They want to increase their watch hours per user per month. Now, overall, if I remember correctly, I don't have this, I think TikTok has 700 million users and YouTube has 2 billion. So in total watch hours, YouTube is still winning, but they're losing ground to TikTok, and that is scary for them. And TikTok realizes there's a lot of people who want nothing to do with short 30-second automatically generated or automatically fed to you videos. People like me, I want 10-minute, 15, 30-minute videos that are well thought out, formulated, and informative. So I will not be using TikTok. They want to draw me in. Ain't gonna work, suckers. Ain't gonna work. I ain't coming on board. All right, that's all I had to say about that. Next, we have a comment from 6Mike Mike. They say, when you refer to short form, what time period would you consider the ideal mix of long form and short form? Mike, thank you very much for the comment. This is a very interesting question, and I don't know if I can give you a great answer because it fluctuates over time, and also it's different from medium to medium. I think short films are 40 minutes and less. TikTok, probably long form, would be 1 minute. YouTube in 2005, 3 minutes would be long form, and everybody was just expecting 15-second cat videos. But nowadays, on YouTube, long form is probably 10 plus minutes. Short form is probably 5 minutes and below, maybe 3 minutes and below. So the sweet spot, I think, would be between 3 to 7 minutes. And I understand how funny that is because I don't make videos of that length. All of my videos are now 15 plus minutes and it sucks. I wish I could make a microphone review that was 3 minutes long. That would be amazing. But so many people have said, hey, I need to know about this. I need to know about this. So I just include it. And that extends the length of the video. I would love to have a 3 to 5 minute microphone review. I was thinking about it. That could be a good experiment. Even my conclusion is longer than 5 minutes, but just do a short review and then try to release on the second channel all of the testing. So if somebody's interested, they can go listen to that and watch it. I don't know if that would work. Maybe the best way to do it would be do the full review on the main channel and then just dump a 3 to 5 minute version on the second channel. I don't know, just something to experiment with. And yeah, I would say 3 to 7 minutes is the sweet spot in my opinion. Next, we have a comment from Diggable Creative. They say, I argued years ago that YouTube would be a good place to podcast. I was laughed out of the room. I would like money now, YouTube. Plus, this addresses something I've long argued, and this might be a gloomy point. If Father Time knocks on my door and I don't have anyone to keep paying my podcast hosting provider, my voice will check out too. One thing I like about the YouTube platform, legacy, but what do I know? Thank you very much for the comment. I think you are 100% on base here. I think this is spot on. I had never really considered the legacy that YouTube allows. But I think that all stems from what I've been praising YouTube for since day one, why I signed up in 2005. Free hosting. As long as YouTube's up, my videos will continue to exist, and that is amazingly valuable. Amazingly? Is that a word? In my head right now, that doesn't seem like a word. Amazingly. Amazingly? That doesn't sound right, does it? That's an amazing value to offer for free. Let's put it that way. But I, too, have been a massive advocate for YouTube as a place to put your podcasts. I don't mean just regular audio podcasts where you have a static image and your audio underneath it, because I don't think that really works. YouTube is a video platform. People expect to have something engaging on screen. But if you're doing video podcasts like this, where you have multiple camera angles, or if you have supplemental information, if you pull up graphs and pictures of what you're talking about. A really great example of this is the Watchfinder YouTube channel. They do a podcast, and whenever they're talking about a watch, they'll throw it on screen, and when they're not, they don't have any watches on screen. They have a couple images of different microphones that are associated with each person talking, and it fluctuates in size, I think, when they are speaking to kind of look like a Discord bubble. I don't know how to explain it, but go look up a Watchfinder, or I'll throw a link if I can remember. So I think that if there's a visual version or a visual element to your podcast, YouTube is outstanding for that. And it's not just because of the legacy. It's because what is one of the biggest complaints people have about podcasting? I'm not able to be discovered. I can't be discovered. It's so hard to grow a podcast. A most common complaint. And why is that? Because there's no discoverability algorithm in any of these platforms, in any of these podcatchers. What do you find on iTunes or Apple Podcasts? Just the top podcasts. They get there because they're already incredibly popular. No new podcasts really go in there. And even if you do go in there, you're not really going to see any exponential growth. But YouTube offers that algorithm, offers that discoverability algorithm. Will it make your podcast explode in popularity? No. But some of your episodes might get picked up, might catch on, and do extremely well. My show, for example, I believe it typically gets between 1,000 and 2,000 views, and that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good for a 30 to 45 minute rambling talk show podcast about audio gear and creator news. I think 2,000 views is amazing. But if you look at my most popular episodes on YouTube, I have one that's 92,000 views. If I look at the audio download, it's still sitting around 1,000 downloads. Nothing amazing. Nothing amazing on the audio side because there's no algorithm pushing it out there and recommending it to people. I bit my tongue because I'm missing my tooth because the crown fell off. Stupid tooth, I hate you. I have a tooth sitting on my counter. It's so disgusting. It looks cool, though. I'm like the wet bandits from Home Alone. He knocked out my gold tooth. I'm gonna kill him. That's what I was saying to what I was eating. I'm gonna kill him. He knocked out my gold tooth. I'm going off on a tangent. What was I saying? 92,000 views on the most popular video here because it was recommended to people. And that is something that YouTube offers podcasters that podcasters don't get anywhere else. And that's a massive value. So I agree 100%. It's an amazing place for podcasts to be because it actually offers you some form of potential growth opportunity, potential discoverability outside of you having to tell every single person, hey, I run a podcast, go listen to it. I run a podcast, go listen to it. I run a podcast, go listen to it. This is a relatively organic way to grow your show. Is it going to work all the time? No. Is it going to give you explosive numbers? Most of the time, no. But for some people, absolutely it will. And I love the legacy idea. When we're long gone, our videos will still be there as long as YouTube exists. And the last comment we have comes from Fernando, and he says, Dude, I just love your channel's banjo, but I gotta say, I'd really, really, really prefer if you did a straight jump cut throughout the video instead of this distracting bird's eye view, or no cuts at all. Just we like to see your face while you're speaking, and all the back and forth makes it distracting. If someone else agrees with me, please like this comment so Bandrew considers it. Thanks. Fernando, thank you very much for the comment. I do this for a very specific reason. I received complaints early on that the jump cuts were incredibly distracting. I received comments saying, don't do that. Don't have all these jump cuts. Hide it with a second angle. So I got comments like that. I've also received compliments that this secondary angle, high secondary angle, is a nice alternative. It gives you a little bit of it makes it look like you're getting, okay, let me tell you a story. I love bird's eye views of people's studios. I think it's one of the coolest things. Getting to see the environment that they're in, getting to see all the gear in their room. I love that kind of crap. And this is an angle that I like seeing in shows. I like this type of angle. So I made the secondary angle this because I like it. I could go ahead and let me just go ahead and jump up here. Hi. I could just do this, and now it's just wobbling all around and a lot closer in, and I hate this. I hate this so much. But that's another option. If anybody else agrees, if people think that this is a stupid secondary angle, hell, I will just do the single angle. It makes my life a hell of a lot easier. I have the secondary angle because people were complaining that the jump cuts were annoying and distracting. So whoever wins out, you tell me, but I like this secondary angle. I think it gives a little bit of a nice change of pace. And yeah, that's my take on it. But if it is distracting for anybody else, this is the first complaint I've got. Let me know in the comments. Okay, let's jump to the Ask Bandrew segment. If you have any questions, go to askbandrew.com. There are instructions on how to send in audio, video, and text-based questions. I do prefer audio and video because then I don't have to read. I am a stinky reader, especially right now when I keep biting my damn tongue. So send in audio and video. I appreciate you. Askbandrew.com. First, we have a submission from Eric. Take it away, Eric.
Hi, Bandrew. This is Eric, and I'm recording this from a Sennheiser E817 and a Wave XLR. I'm interested in purchasing a dynamic studio microphone in order to work voiceovers and podcasts, and my research and budget narrowed to these two options, a Shure SM7b and an Electro RE320. I feel like my voice could sound better on the Shure SM7b considering its darker and bassy tone, but also I like how clear and smooth the RE320 sounds with voices similar to mine. I would like to know your thoughts on these two microphones considering to go on podcasting. Thank you so much.
Eric, thank you very much for the voice submission. Sorry it took me so long to get around to it, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows what I'm going to say. Based on my opinion, based on my personal preference, I would likely go for the Shure SM7b because I prefer the sound over the RE320. Now currently, I have the SM7b in the flat mode, but let me adjust that real quick. And now I've switched on the presence boost on the SM7b, and that should brighten it up a little bit. It's not going to be anywhere near the RE320, but this does give you a slightly brighter sound if that's what you're going for. Personally, not my favorite for the SM7b. I like it in flat mode, but I know plenty of people like it with that presence boost engaged. This would be my pick, but now let me switch over to the RE320 and see if I can speak then. And now I've switched over to the Electro Voice RE320. You should hear quite a bit more top end, a lot more articulation on this thing. Personally, I think it comes across a bit too bright, but I know people absolutely adore it. I do not have the low cut or kick switch engaged, and I decreased my gain from 100% down to 4 o'clock, so 90-ish%. And here is how the EV RE320 compares to the SM7b. And with a quick comparison out of the way, I want to point something out. In your voice submission, you say that you like the clearer sound of the RE320 on voices that are similar to yours. Because you said that, that's probably going to be your best bet because you have to like how you sound on the microphone. If you get a microphone based on other people's opinions on the internet, knowing full well that you prefer something else, you're going to end up hating the microphone. So if you enjoy the RE320's clearer sound, go with that. Okay, that's all I've got for that voice submission. Let's jump to the next one.
Hey, Bandrew, this is the Potter discussion. I'm sending you another voice submission from the vat of endless problems in my mind. My name's Oscar, by the way, so that's cool. But my problem is bass. So my microphone is getting on in years, and it is slowly starting to lose that sensitivity so often sought after in the bottommost regions of the microphone's receptors. And I was just wondering, how can I boost the bass in a way so that the audio sounds good, but also so the plosives aren't too grating to the ear cavities? I'm saying cavity a lot. So I've been noticing that if I boost the bass too much, it results in a, like it sounds good, the audio sounds generally good, but right when I get to the plosive, it's like, alright, today we're going to be talking about this, so enjoy. So it's really difficult to make a podcast like that, and I was really wondering, how can you help me? I would love any kind of tip, a plugin even, that would help me boost the bass so the audio sounds good, so the plosives don't kill me.
Oscar, thank you very much for the great question. To summarize, you're saying, how do you boost the bass of your microphone or your voice without making plosives unlistenable? Simple. Step 1, microphone technique. Do not speak directly into it. Please bring pizza pronto. Don't do that. Speak past the microphone. Please bring pizza pronto. Please bring pizza pronto. Mic technique. That's step 1. That should always be your first step. Fix it in the analog world before you hit record. The second thing I would say is if you can't do that, there is a plugin called a deplosive plugin that will remove all of the energy of the plosive. Some of them can be quite destructive, so you might want to just go through and apply it just to the one part that you have the actual plosive in so that it doesn't alter the sound of the entire recording. But some of them are quite good, and you can make them a bit more subtle. The way that I would approach it is do the deplosive plugin and then do the bass boost or the bass boost after that. That way, I think you can really hear my mouth noises in this episode. This is disgusting. The missing tooth is making it a lot worse. That's how I would approach it, because I wouldn't want the EQ to exaggerate the plosive and then try to make the plosive remover, the deplosive plugin, do even more work because you've made the plosive worse. Deplosive then boost the bass in the EQ. That's what I would recommend, but first and foremost, get it right in the analog world. Mic technique, mic technique, mic technique. It's like, what is it? It's like real estate, location, location, location. And what is mic technique? Location, location, location. This is a bad location. This is a good location. There you go. That's my answer. Next, we have a voice submission from Noah. Take it away, Noah.
Hello. I was wondering if you could suggest a microphone that would help my voice sound a little less nasally, a little more bassy. Not so much for vain purposes, but more for communication on work calls. I know this might not be segment worthy, but I'd love your input. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you later.
Noah, thank you very much for the voice submission. This is an excellent question, quite difficult to answer, but a very good question. The way I'm approaching this is listening for microphones that are more V-shaped, meaning they have a boost in the low end, a boost in the top end, which makes the mid-frequencies sound a little bit recessed. Maybe even the microphones have a little bit of a scoop in the mids to pull out a bit of that nasalness in your voice. So the first microphone that I have here is the, what is this? Mackie EM89D. This costs $80, $60, something like that. And this does have that boost in the lower frequencies. You can hear that in the bottom of my voice. It makes it sound a little bit beefier. The mids aren't as forward, and then you get this treble boost on there, which makes it tss, tss, tss. You can hear that. So it sounds a little bit V-shaped. The mids aren't as prominent as the lows and the treble. That's the first mic that came to mind. The second microphone that I thought of was the Samson Q2U. The reason this came to mind is it's going up against the Audio-Technica ATR2100 and AT2005 USB. Both of those Audio-Technica mics are very nasally to my ears, very mid-forward, and this avoids that. It avoids that nasalness, at least in comparison to those, and it gives you a very bright top end. If you get right on top of the microphone, I think I might be clipping actually, but you will be able to get a bit of that proximity effect, which it doesn't come across very clear when you get right on top of it, but this is a mic that I wouldn't necessarily classify this as V-shaped or scooped in the mids, but compared to the two options that this is going up against, I do think it avoids nasal frequencies quite well. It does come across a little bit sibilant, and I think the Mackie has that same issue. It does come across a touch sibilant, but nothing that is horribly offensive. So that's the second mic that came to mind. And now why not jump up in price about $400? We are on the Electro Voice RE320, which is an absolute classic broadcast microphone. As you can hear, very even sound. It does have some nice extension into the treble and air. That articulation is there, which is very nice on a dynamic. I wouldn't classify this as scooped in the mids, but it does have a couple points where it pulls out a little bit of the mid frequencies. I don't think that's responsible for it avoiding too much nasalness, but I do hear a little bit of the mids being pulled out here. You can still get some nice low end. It's not anemic. It's not weak down there. You're not going to be able to get too much in terms of proximity effect because it does have that variable D technology. And there you go. This is the third option that came to mind, EV RE20. And why not go more expensive? Why not? And there you go. That's all that I've got for you this week. I do not have a movie of the week because I did not watch as many as I should have. I don't know why. I watched, what was it, Psycho 4: The Beginning. That was a weird one. That was a really, really weird one. Nothing really stuck out. I watched a couple of Giallos. I watched Deep Red and Cat O' Nine Tails, both Argento films, and Demons 2, which Argento produced. He did not direct it. None of those I thought were worthy of being the movie of the week, but I know people love Deep Red. It was just really weird because the audio, I was listening to the English dub, but it kept switching back and forth between English and Italian. So it wasn't an English dub. It was English, Italian, English, Italian. I don't know. And the voices were so different. It threw me completely out of the movie. That's all that I've got for you today because I don't want to keep talking. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you. I love you so much. You're the best. Okay, bye-bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.